Kevin Chaos here. Today I'm going to talk to you about vampires. Vampires. There's a lot of misunderstood notions, beliefs, and lack of beliefs. So I'd like to clear up a lot of what actually vampirism is. As humans, we all are vampires to a degree. That is to say that we all feed and exchange information. Be sure to see the Aura video and understand a bioelectric field and the information contained therein. We, on Earth, everything on Earth has a somewhat symbiotic relationship. Certain plants grow better around other certain plants. Everything kind of works in a relationship. Now, information, it also works this way. The reason why some people legitimately can read minds, or much more commonly, emotions, is because we broadcast a lot of this information, whether it be through our body language or through our energy and our thoughts. Thoughts are energy, and there's no such thing as separate or solid in the way that most understand the illusion of it. You can look into physics and understand that regarding touch. So we all express a lot of information, especially the quiet people. For those of us who are good at reading people, the quiet people are some of the easiest to read, because in most cases, they have such a desire to be understood without going through the hard effort of expressing themselves that they're screaming it out to you, really wanting you to get it. So it's right there on the surface. As vampires, we feed on information. Now, first to cover a lot of myths and bullshit. Yes, sunlight sucks for a vampire. For one who chooses to and actively pursues in the art of vampirism, sunlight weakens. Our powers more strengthened during the night and lessened during the day. So there is some truth to that. No, there's no bursting in the flames, however it may feel that way. As a vampire, what it really is we're acutely sensitive to the elements, to the seasonal changes, and the radiation of the sun. That powerful energy is enough to overwhelm our vessels. Our vessels are already capable of so much, but it's hard for the body to take for long durations of time. That being said, crosses. Obviously, with what I said, with people being able to be vampires without even knowing it, or everyone being somewhat vampiric to a degree, no, crosses do not stop a vampire in any way, shape, or form. Really, blessings and faith, your ability to protect yourself, to fortify your thoughts against your thoughts being invaded by others, same way that you receive information, we can send information. So, being strong of will or faith will protect you, not a symbol. The symbol is just another way to say, this is what I believe, and this is what this stands for. Then you have garlic. Garlic is a herb of power. It's amazing for the digestive system. Garlic and ginger, amazing for warmth. It's really beneficial for the body. Blessed by someone, adding intent, adding their willpower to it, their faith and will onto the garlic, it can act as a deterrent, but nothing in and of itself could say to be deadly or harmful to anyone necessarily. Everybody's going to be unique, and their strengths and weaknesses from vessel to vessel, spirit to spirit, are going to vary. Alright, feeding. We exchange information constantly. Back in the day, blood being the most powerful of life force, because only the living produce it. Blood, fingernails, hair, these are things that the living produce. And technically some of those things for a time do continue to grow after death. But blood is considered obviously the most powerful essence. With the way that the world is run and everything is a camera, everything is recorded and watched, obviously this isn't the way to go these days. So it isn't a very common practice, except for by the global elite. There are, just look into it, you'd be surprised. But nowadays, the simplest way is to understand, since everything is a form of energy, and since everything is being constantly broadcasted and received, to work through that person's defenses and to Simply breathe it in. The same way that you're taught to breathe in the prana and the good energy of the regular world around you that isn't resistant toward it. Earth and everything there being put there for you to use, to help you. The same thing can technically be done to people. You can breathe in, filtering it out as you visualize and exhale. That being said, there are some warnings you should know, whether you do this consciously or not, to protect yourself. You are the company that you keep. If you find yourself being unhappy or unnecessarily angry, you're likely pulling that in from somewhere else. Meaning to or not, this is simply how things are done. It's just like how vocabulary of certain people, even words you hate, rub off into you after being around somebody for a while. Then you find yourself accidentally using that and you get irritated with yourself. That's as simple as that, because their energy rubbed into you. Just being in that presence, it became a part of you. Your subconscious absorbed its narrative, and for a time, or permanently, if not gone unchecked and guarded, permanently being a part of you. That being said, it's important that you tend your spiritual, mental, bodily garden and understand that you're the company you keep. So, if you don't want to be aggressive, not hanging out so much around aggressive people, etc., and so on. Now, this also goes for drugs. Now, an experienced energy vampire can use this to their advantage and get high for free. Feed off somebody high. But this also means that if they're victims, for lack of a better word, are unknown to them, say they do heroin or cocaine or something that you don't particularly wish to partake of, by feeding on that person, you're also going to get that. The same thing for prescription medications. Now, for someone who has their third eye open, who's aware, the moment you try to initiate contact, you're going to know and have a feeling on whether this is good or bad for you. Listen to that feeling, because your senses are telling you whether it should go into your body or not. Okay. The best place to feed for everyone's safety is a cliche commonly repeated in movies. Dance clubs, bars, places where people are dancing and throwing out this energy with lack of intent. It's not programmed with their will and intent. So it's literally just free energy thrown into the air that will dissipate and go unused over time. So technically, you're just being productive and recycling and harnessing this energy if you choose to feed that way. The same thing technically is true at conventions like NecoCon and things like that. As people bubbling up all this and doing nothing really with it, that stays in the air. And you're more than welcome to feed that in. Here's a couple feeding methods you can try to help you control this sort of situation. You can do the same thing to send things out, but keep in mind people might be more knowledgeable and prepared than you are, and they might be aware you're doing it. So depending on the person, you might not want to fuck around. All right, the tentacle method. Think Venom for Spider-Man. Feed. Okay, he was always hungry. Now, a vampire, myth-wise, they said the original vampire doesn't have a soul. Now, let's correct that. Solar plexus. The main personality, a life, their own force. It's said that they once forsook their own life. They gave it up, whether they tried to kill themselves or in some other manner is unclear. And in order to keep their life, which was now no longer theirs, they gave it up. They said, fuck this. They had to take it from others. Their solar plexus was believed to be void. So they have to fill that void and constantly refill it with nourishment, or they would die, or become in essence. So, pretty interesting stuff to think about. There is a lot of misconceptions and a lot of interesting things on this phenomena, but there are a lot of common people that bring you nothing but joy and happiness. That doesn't make this evil, as much as it is an understanding of how these things work, and some people use it subconsciously without knowing, and some people use it deliberately in knowing. Robin Williams was a well-known psychic vampire, and experimenting with drugs and being around the wrong people near the end of his career, pulling in all the wrong thoughts and depressions and sorrows, versus how you saw him his whole life, giving people joy and therefore feeling that joy, pulling and pushing happiness and silliness for everyone. A lot of comedians and actors are actually psychic vampires. So this isn't a harmful phenomenon, doesn't make someone good or evil. It's just simply people that understand or subconsciously perform exchanges of information with their subtle bodies. See the aura video and know that your subtle body or your spiritual body, the bioelectric field around your body extends a little bigger than your physical, about an inch or so around your body. And this holds all kinds of information. You can program it for different things. You can change the frequency, shape, purpose of what you wish to use it for. You can have people like you more, hate you more, stay away from you. You ever realize that you just get a feeling, and say somebody's walking on the same side of the street as you, and you walk the other side of the street and walk on that side just in case. You just get a feeling. Well, without consciously knowing it, your third eye might not be open to see it, to perceive it as it is. You just instinctually avoided information that was being broadcast to you. Whether it simply be that they're in a bad mood, whether they express it or not, whether their body language shows it or not, or whether they simply do not want to be bothered and make it a firm thought in their mind of leave me the fuck alone. And that's what their aura says to your subconscious. All of these things are perceived without the need for conversation, without the necessary need for sight to see it. We pick up on this subtle information. Parents are notorious for understanding their children in this aspect, that mothers' maternal instincts are simply nothing more than the tether they have for birthing their child, having that connection. And really close friends or people that have been in relationships for several years get better at this for the same reasons. You could be somewhere completely else and nowhere that someone is crying. Now, if you get really good and really attached to someone, see my video on soul ties coming up soon, you will be able to see through their eyes if you choose to. Peer around their room with them, tell them objects that are near them and show off if that's your desire to do so, or simply check in on them and comfort them. So that is a lot of information on the truth about vampirism. You can take it or leave it, but as they say, for those who have the eyes to see, let them see. For those who have the ears to hear, let them hear. I don't aim to deceive you in any way, but rather to strengthen people in their knowledge and understanding. Many people don't approach things because of the words we use. If I choose the word magic over prayer or meditation, which in essence is all the same thing. If I choose the word fucking spirits, people look at things because of their prejudice and how they've been taught with resentment and hatred and judgment and fear. And that's just something that really needs to be discarded. So if you really enjoy my channel, give a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button, because I'm going to be covering a lot of different things that people are really looking for enlightenment on, looking for understanding on. And I hope to be able to bring it to you in a way that you can understand and help you relate to these subjects without judgment and prejudice. Take what you need, discard the rest. Nothing but love for all walks of life. My name is Kevin Chaos, and I'll see you later.